Alright, are we live?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi guys, this is
Devon Mirsky.
and Witt. We are with PragerU, and today we are going to be answering some of your guys' questions. So very rare Instagram Live. So we have our lovely camera woman, Karina, another intern at PragerU. Say hi.
Hi.
You can flip the camera. And she's going to be, if you can. And she is going to be the moderator on the questions. So send your questions and we'll start answering them as they come. Obviously, if there's a lot of questions, a lot of inquiries, we won't be able to get to everyone, but we're going to do our best to answer as many as we can. So try not to have super specific questions because, obviously those will take more time and everything. But ask us anything about politics, philosophy, PragerU, ask about us or anyone else in the staff. I'm a pretty interesting guy. So ask us anything. So are we getting questions, Karina?
Liberty Like says, how are you both so attractive?
I'll let you take that one.
Oh, it's definitely not me. He makes me look good.
We're both great-looking people. Conservatives are better looking and also happier, according to statistics.
Yeah,
So,
you can read it. It's true.
Yeah.
I think this question is directed at Devon. What makes Prager Force so great?
Because people are super smart and awesome. I don't know. It's just people that are super dedicated to the movement and are willing to kind of do a lot of different things to spread knowledge. And that's kind of like...
knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, I'm just super proud to work with everyone. In case anyone didn't know, I'm director of Prager Force, so, just throwing it out there. If anyone wants to join, just let me know.
How do you identify politically, libertarian or conservative?
Myself, I identify conservative, but I think I go libertarian on a lot of issues like healthcare, things like that. But I would consider myself conservative. I'd call myself traditional.
I'm in the conservatarian title. It's just becoming more popular, so it's kind of a crossover. A little more liberal on social issues and conservative on fiscal issues.
Devon. Janie says, explain Prager Force.
So Prager Force is the student ambassador program for PragerU, and obviously since you're all watching PragerU Instagram, you obviously know what PragerU is. So basically what you do is you spread awareness of the videos on social media, writing articles, making memes, videos, that kind of thing. So you're like the digital army to all the campus clubs that actually exist, which is really cool because we're not conflicting with any of College Republicans, Turning Point USA, Young Americans for Liberty. It's a perfect complement. You can show the videos in your club meetings. You can do things just sitting at home. So it's just a great way of getting involved.
Prager Force is awesome. Prager Force got me into a ton of political stuff, being with such a tight community of people who, really believe in the PragerU message and the videos and everything. It's awesome to have someone to connect with, because I know a lot of conservatives on college campuses, they feel alone, they feel like maybe they don't have people to connect with, so having a great community of people they can talk to their opinions about is awesome. So Prager Force is a great thing. Devon is doing an amazing job with that, so definitely want to get more people into it if you're a student.
So Sleepy Soul 13 is joining us during his break, or her break, and they say, I got 5 minutes left of my break. How do you two feel about Trump's travel ban being somewhat passed?
I myself feel good. I think, so it had to do with a certain amount of countries, right, that were able to get passed. It was you had to have a legitimate reason to be allowed to go to the United States, so that they were saying. And so for me personally with the travel ban, I would prefer to have it much tighter. I think keeping Americans safe should be our number one priority, letting people into this country. So wasn't 100% happy with it, but I think it's a definite step in the right direction.
Yeah, I totally agree with Will. I think it's definitely a little bit better than nothing. So, what's important is that we vet people more. So, although there are a lot of loopholes as to if you have a family member, or, you're going to school, and some of those things don't always mean you're still a good person. Obviously we've had from the 9/11 attackers, even they were here for legitimate reasons. So it doesn't always mean anything, but I think it's still good to vet people as much as possible. So I think that at least there's a little bit of that there.
Will, someone is asking to see the PragerU logo on the back of your head.
Oh, that's good.
Da 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 da!
It's actually, this is how I communicate with aliens. You get a good shot.
Yeah.
It's how I communicate with aliens. But no, I like basically am walking around with it looks like I have a disease on the back of my head.
Excuse me,
Like-
it does not.
I mean, it looks unique enough, so it's kind of cool. But it's not.
It's a conversation piece.
It's a
It's like artwork.
conversation starter. It's a great way to pick up women with. And pick up alien signals as
Like,
well.
hey, what are those
So,
circles?
exactly. No one
Back
can
of
tell
your
it's a
head.
Prager Force logo, or PragerU logo, but it's a good way to start a conversation with it.
So Bear_Barker75 says, what is your opinion on CNN scandals and the Project Veritas tapes?
Project Veritas is awesome. We love all these undercover people that are really trying to expose some of the bias that's actually happening. So they're really awesome.
The CNN just did the thing. Didn't they lose like 3 journalists because they thought it was fake news?
Mm-hmm.
So they lost the 3 journalists, and then there was just like a video I saw of it was like an undercover video, I guess, where a guy from CNN was talking about the whole Russian collusion. He said it was BS on film and everything. That was on the Daily Wire is where I read that. But I don't know. I like to go on YouTube, and you can watch all those like CNN compilations of like where they where you can just legitimately tell that everything they're saying is lies, or they edit out certain parts, or they cut the feed. I think those are hilarious, just to see how bad they are. Or the Rachel Maddow owned compilations, anything like that. But yeah.
So this is a bit of a more
She's
fun
awesome.
question. If you could travel anywhere in time and space, where would you go?
Well, okay, because I'm like a nerd for the Beatles. I mean, I would go to England in the 60s and be a part of Beatlemania. But I mean, that's just one thing in general. I mean, maybe ancient Egypt, that might be really cool. Time of Moses and Ramses. Like, wow.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
And then you could see the real aliens. Connect with them. Building the pyramids, right? If it were me, I would go back to Middle Earth from Lord of the Rings.
Because it exists.
Well, she said time and space, right?
I thought she meant like real stuff.
Okay. Middle Earth if I could go anywhere. If not, I would go to medieval times. I'd be a knight, obviously. I'm not a fan of feudalism, but I think it'd be cool to be a knight and ride along the countryside. I don't know. I like stuff like that, so.
Should marijuana be legalized federally?
In my opinion, I think so. I think they should do some work on decriminalizing it. You'd have a lot less people in prison. I mean, most of the people in prison are for drug charges and things like that anyway. I think it would help out a lot.
Yeah, I mean, medical marijuana is very important. It helps a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. So that's a huge thing. And yeah, decriminalizing it to make it not as harsh a punishment as sometimes people get just for possessing it. So
I think like the 21 and up thing that they've done in Colorado, where I'm from actually, and here in California, is a great thing, and I think that should be a federal thing that they do as well.
OK.Libertarian says, did you support the Donald from the beginning?
I did. I was a huge Trump guy.
same.
Yes.
It was
Daddy.
like closet Trump supporter status, when you weren't, it was like, oh, you can't admit it because people will like criticize you kind of thing. And I was just like, that's,
Yeah,
whatever.
I got into a fight with an ex-girlfriend of mine. Ex now, definitely. But I remember we were having a talk on politics, and this was like before like the primaries, anything. It was early stages, and she goes, you sound like a Trump supporter. And I said, well, why are you voting for Hillary? And she said, oh, because she's a woman. I mean, it was just mind-blowing. So it was, at the beginning, it was definitely tough. But yes, always been a Trump supporter since day one.
Armando.Realtor says, what's up to Devon?
Hey Armando, you're awesome. I've worked with you for a while and you're like so cool and everyone should know Armando. And basically if I've worked with anyone on campus, you're probably awesome too. And if you're in Prager Force, you're awesome. So I just like my people. Let's just put it that way. I'm going to calm down.
Who would win in a fight, Dennis Prager or Ben Shapiro?
Okay.
Is this like a fist fight?
Right.
Specify.
I will go with Dennis Prager for any kind of variation on that, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that because I work for PragerU.
I think Dennis Prager is a little scrappy. I think he'd do a good job in a fight. In a debate, be a pretty even mix. We're playing that.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But I mean, luckily I agree with Dennis Prager. more on little variations there. But I don't know, I like his style. He's got like kind of a more light-hearted style, even in debate. He's got good humor and everything. That's what both have very different styles, so it's very good for different reasons. But yeah, I'm Dennis Prager girl.
So Scott says, do you think YouTube is underexposing the PragerU channel, and what is your opinion about YouTube censorship in general?
I think YouTube should not be censoring videos at all. That is the internet community that people should have all the right to say, pretty much whatever they want. I think, PragerU videos have been censored, which is awful. We met with people in YouTube, actually. A lot of conservative people met with people in YouTube, and having censorship on videos is the opposite of free speech and exactly what we don't want to happen. So
yeah, it's like they're using different loopholes, like a restricted mode, like, to protect kids, the parents can protect their kids from certain things. Like, if anything, maybe have it be more customized so that the parents can choose certain keywords or certain content. Maybe that would be a little more way around it, because I feel like they're using that as an excuse to like actually censor people, and it's clearly like for videos we have that have like nothing wrong with them, it's like you can't even see that, and so it's really crazy.
Well, it's like a PragerU video on economics, and it's like, oh, this isn't safe for children. It's like, that makes no sense.
Yeah, exactly. So
have you met Dennis personally? Is the next question.
Yeah.
Yes, actually went to Shabbat with him. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I'm not actually Jewish, but I go with the family that I live with here in California.
Also, I know you met him at the PragerU Summit.
Met him at the PragerU Summit as well.
If you're in Prager Force and you're a really awesome involved member, you might get chosen to come out to LA and go to some really cool exclusive events like that. Because literally Will, even Karina behind the camera, like 30 students got to come out to LA, meet Dennis Prager, and see some really incredible speakers. So that's a good incentive to obviously get more involved.
Mm-hmm. It was an awesome time.
How do you both, as inner city millennials, feel about national I'm sorry, I can't read.
It's okay. It's a tough word.
Reciprocity of concealed carry licenses. You guys get what I mean? Like taking away concealed carry licenses in inner cities.
I don't really agree with, obviously, little things to take away your right to own guns, and that's kind of what that is. So, I understand, like, there's a lot of crime, but these people have their guns anyways. So, okay, they're not allowed to have concealed carry, then why are there still, all these, the murder rates in all these cities, like Chicago, for instance, you're not allowed to have guns, and yet the highest crime rate.
Yeah, the strictest gun laws in the country, and yet
doesn't do anything.
The most crime.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not in favor of it. I'd rather have, people, if they happen to be in that area that are actually, trying to protect themselves, this would be the way to do that. So I wouldn't take that right from people.
Yeah, I think gun safety is a huge thing. People knowing how to handle their firearms, everything like that. And I think, unintelligent people with firearms is definitely dangerous, but I think we need to do better training on it as well.
So Devon, I don't think you've actually mentioned it. How do we join Prager Force? A couple of people are asking.
Okay, awesome. Well, a couple of ways, but I will say the most important one is text. So take out your phone, cell phone, text message. Text Prager Force, it's one word. Doesn't matter if it's capitalized or not. So Prager Force to 64600. If you're not in the U.S. by any chance, you can always go to the PragerU.com website and click on Prager Force and sign up on the website too.
Madison says, what's the hardest part about living in LA and working on a conservative movement?
The hardest part about living in LA is just being a conservative. I go out everywhere. Like, I actually just met a girl the other day. And we started talking, really nice, really cool girl and everything. And then she asked what I do for work, and I told her, I work for PragerU. I help on conservative videos and stuff. And, automatically everything went downhill. I try and tell her I don't talk politics with friends and things like that, but she wouldn't let it go.
Can't escape it when it's your work.
You can't escape it at all. And so people, I love it. I love being conservative out here because it's more fun when you always have opposition, but there definitely is a lot of opposition. It's hard out here for that. So
I think it makes you stronger, but also I think that's it helps because you'll notice like a lot of people especially in LA at least, maybe not as much San Francisco or even New York City. It's a lot harder, but a lot of the people out here in LA, you'll notice their lifestyle or the reasons they're here is for very, more conservative and libertarian reasons. It's like they're trying to start a business, they're trying to make more money, make a better life for their kids, or, also just the level of freedom, so sometimes it's a good segue of like picking out what makes a city and starting that into a dialogue as to like you actually are more conservative or libertarian, and kind of showing how, just because you're involved with some of these other things doesn't mean you can't both agree on certain other issues where they think we're, at odds, So it's a good segue, actually. It's a good way to try to change people's perception of what conservatives are, because it's easy to do that if you're with like-minded people. If you're all of a sudden kind of like, oh, what? You're conservative, and you get that reaction, that's actually a good thing, because then you're changing their stereotypical perception of what they think a conservative is. And I've always loved that, like, forever. So I've always gotten that reaction from people. So it's always a good thing.
Where do you guys think you would be now if you weren't working in politics?
I heard McDonald's is hiring, so that's probably where I'd be. No, I wouldn't be doing that. I'd probably still be at university. I was an English major before, so I really love writing. I'd probably be just doing something that has to do with that, writing books, doing blog posts, film stuff. That's what I'm into, so.
Yeah, I've kind of been in this political road for, a lot of my life. I've always liked even psychology, so being that person to kind of listen to people's problems and talking them through it, or that kind of thing, so more therapy. Also do kind of like comedy and things like that, something non-political. Although you could tie politics into comedy too. We do that all the time in the office.
It's like the things that I would have been doing before, I'm now trying to do in a political realm. So it's kind of two birds with one stone, I guess.
Combo your passion and politics, which everyone should do. Politics isn't simple. It's like you could be in medicine, you could, be in acting and do all these different things and tie in politics. So, or just even something like computer science or graphic design. People in the conservative movement need, individuals to create their software design thing. So it doesn't matter if you're not traditionally like a politician type to talk. There are a lot of different jobs where we need, we need you to fill those kind of purposes. So
in reality, I used to want to be a veterinarian. I worked at an animal hospital for a bit, and actually this huge animal sanctuary as well. So that's what I wanted to do forever. I just more recently got into politics a few years ago, and that kind of took over everything. So, yeah, would have been working with animals.
Will, what is your favorite PragerU video? You guys can both answer. It was just directed at Will.
Since it was directed at me, I'll answer first. I actually really like the JFK one that came out. JFK is my favorite president, and he's always been my favorite president. And learning that he was actually, conservative over being liberal it's like, yes, it's like a fist in the air. I absolutely love that. So I think that's my favorite one.
Well, if no one asked me, I shouldn't answer this question. No, just kidding.
Playing hard to get.
Actually, one of my favorites is by Gloria Alvarez, Immigrants Don't Vote for What You Fled. Especially growing up in LA and totally in the middle of the immigrant community and everything. It's this is something actually I was always very passionate about and never really heard people talk about. So, in that video, if you haven't seen it, she talks about how people are immigrating to the U.S. from all these other countries, and she's personally in Guatemala, so she's talking about a lot of Latin American countries. And, they're escaping a lot of this socialism and this corruption, yet they come here and they start voting for politicians and for policies that are similar to what they're leaving. So it's kind of like, why are you doing that? I thought that's what you were leaving your country for. So to me, that just really put it in a nice, short, sweet message that hopefully bridges a lot of these gaps. And she also did it in Spanish, so it really can, bridge a lot more of these gaps in different countries as well. So I love that one.
So we have a lot of people just joining us now. So if you guys could just give a quick asking, just say your names and what we're doing here.
I am Will Witt. I am working with PragerU for the summer. Right now, and this is Devon. So introduce yourself.
Devon Mirsky.
Sorry. And right now we are answering, I don't want to say fan questions.
No,
not
we're just
fan
answering questions.
Questions from followers, from anyone coming in and asking any questions about politics, philosophy, about PragerU, maybe questions for us, anything else. So ask away. I think I want to wrap this up in maybe about 10 minutes or so, and then, any final thoughts and everything. So we'll answer definitely a few more questions. So get those out there. Sorry we can't answer all the questions, but we'll do our best. So
even fun things you might want us to do. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
Dares or
Maybe.
Anything.
But yeah, questions are always good. That's easy, at least. I mean, that's like the truth instead of the truth or dare.
Yeah.
So, what are you guys' religious backgrounds? Gamboa_Fajita asks.
So I was, I'll just say secular. I'm spiritual, so I believe in God. I believe in one God, but I wasn't raised in any kind of organized religion and everything like that. So, yeah, so this is kind of where I'm at.
I'm pretty much the exact same as Devon. Yeah, that's about it.
Too much similarity. We're like...
Yeah, we're basically the same person. We just got to do one of us for the next one.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is not normal, but apparently, again, we're showing another side of conservatism, actually, because that's not generally what people think. So, I mean, that's good, actually, and we're both here. So it's not like I'm the one weirdo or you're the one crazy.
We're both crazy.
Yay!
So if you couldn't live in the United States, where would you live?
Ooh.
Probably Syria, if I had to choose, or...
Take over the country, clean it up, actually.
Exactly.
Not a bad idea.
Exactly, influence. For me, actually, I think I'd want to live in South Africa. I just think it'd be a really cool place to live. Just really cool culture and everything.
It is cool. That's a great question. I have a hard time answering that because I don't like a lot of different policies in different countries. But I don't know. Actually, no, I shouldn't say it. But I mean, I really liked Russia, and I kind of want to go and explore that country more.
Tons of fun there.
It's on the ups. That's all I can say.
So, OK.Libertarian is asking for advice. They say, I'm starting a right-wing club at my school, but my principal is a Hillary supporter. How do I get his support?
I would say if they're a Hillary supporter, you might not need their support. You might be able to bypass that and be able to start a club on your own, or show them PragerU videos even.
Well, their political affiliation shouldn't have any involvement in that. So if you feel like that principal is going to discriminate you to start your club because it's conservative, then come to us or go to some, we can help you out, actually, because they're not actually allowed to do that. So don't be scared just because they're on the opposing side of you. You need to be strong and just, recognize the fact that they need to maintain their neutrality and actually how they treat their students. So if you are trying to start a club and you're facing resistance because you're conservative, please just get in contact with us and also join Prager Force. Text Prager Force to 64600.
So other than religious text, what is the most influential book you have ever read?
That is an easy one. Has anyone ever read The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde, 1891? It's my favorite book of all time. I think the things that Lord Henry Wotton in the book says to Dorian throughout the entire thing, he's the antagonist in the book, so he's not necessarily always saying good things, but I think there's a lot of merit in the things that he says about influencing other people and how other people perceive things. And that book actually changed my life when I read it my freshman year in college. It's an amazing read. If you haven't read it, the dialogue between characters is what really makes it. So if you haven't read The Picture of Dorian Gray, check that one out for sure.
I definitely am probably going to go more on the classic side of like where what inspired our founding fathers, so even like John Locke, John Stuart Mill, so things that really talk about philosophy and living free as an individual. Those type of books I think are really important to kind of make you just really think about some of those larger topics,
Favorite political commentator on the left?
Commentator.
Man.
I mean...
Probably Anderson Cooper.
I was almost going to say that, but then again...
My mom likes Anderson Cooper. My mom is she claims to be liberal. I don't know. I think she's a conservative. She voted for Obama before. But she used to watch Anderson Cooper, and she liked him, and he did stuff with, like, E! News and pop culture and stuff, so... I'd probably have to say that because of my mom. It's the best answer I can think of.
At least there were times before, at least, where he was a little more neutral and just talking about stories.
Not so bad, right?
I mean, as with a lot of people, like even like Wolf Blitzer, like he used to be really good, and it's just unfortunately now all these people that used to be a little more neutral are getting a little crazier and more biased. So, but yeah, it's kind of unfortunate because it's hard to say now as compared to the past. There people were better than they are now.
Yeah.
So some more advice for Murillo.Sophia. How do I stand up for my beliefs when all my friends are liberals?
I would say you have to have the facts. So going into an argument, a debate, and you have the facts to back up the claims that you're making, especially when the left's arguments are basically mostly based on emotions, feelings. So when you have facts to back things up, a lot of the time they're not going to agree with you. They're not even going to recognize what you're saying. So you're not going to change their minds a lot of the time, but hopefully you can. Watching PragerU videos, getting information from that definitely helps, and joining a community like PragerForce or a student club like Turning Point USA or anything where you have a cohesive group of people to talk to with these ideas, can definitely help that out. And you just have to be strong and confident going into it, and that's about the
I mean, another key thing is because like Will is saying, you're not necessarily going to win the argument. So if you're dealing with people that are kind of set on their beliefs, one of the best tactics to use is actually start questioning them. So put the defense on them. Ask them, like, why do you believe that? Or do you think these people are this? And especially when it's becoming more personal. And this is if you're in a conversation, of course. It's like, well, do you think I'm racist? And then, if it's something like that, an attack, and it's like, hopefully they don't think you are, they wouldn't be friends with you. So a lot of times if you start questioning them to make them actually dissect their own arguments, that's when they won't be able to defend what they believe. And so then you might be able to open up that dialogue into other aspects. So it's better not to be belligerent and push your perspective because they're not going to hear you. Be a little more strategic about it,
And a lot of people who are on the left or think they're on the left are actually conservative. You just have to present the kind of free market, want the government out of my business kind of things to them. And a lotot of people agree. They don't know that they're conservatives.
Issue-based, not party-based.
We're going to do one more question. So
Okay.
last question.
So let me pick a really good question, guys.
Make it
Let's
juicy.
see.
What's up?
So, what's the next thing we're going to put on your head?
I'm thinking Dennis's face. I'm going to shave the top and then Dennis's face on the top of my head. Gotta find a more skilled barber, though.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah.
That could work.
So, Den the Savage says, do you think we as a country should intervene and help the people of Venezuela fight for their freedom, much like we do in the Middle East?
Well, frankly, I think we and have been intervening too much in the Middle East. So it's a very difficult question because I don't believe we should. I don't like people suffering, obviously. But I do try to side more with as least intervention as possible and doing things a little more strategically. So whether it's doing things through economic pressures or getting other countries to kind of help out, especially surrounding countries, something like that. So generally I would lean towards something like that.
That's great. We really appreciate you guys. Yeah, sorry. I don't know.
Okay.
You answered it very well.
Cool.
So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We'd love to do this again, with different members of the PragerU staff as well. Have some different insight, So let us know your feedback. You can send us direct messages. Maybe we couldn't get to your question today, so send us anything on there and let us know what you thought about this. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. And text 64600 to text PragerForce to 64600 to join. Thank you.